of the beeping of the ECG machine until it flatlined. And when it flatlined, she saw a shooting star. Hi, how's it going? Hope all of you having a really good time. But if you're curious to know what's happening here, let me tell you. So if you're real, maybe you're expecting to go to a university, maybe you're doing a job, whatever you do. But if you think you really need to improve your English knowledge, I suggest you to tap on the subscribe button because these videos might help you. You know, when it comes to learning English, the most important thing is to use it. That's why everybody's telling you like read books, read newspapers, but I know a lot of us don't do it because when you read a book and when you don't understand anything, it's too boring and you too lazy to go find a dictionary, find the meanings, or even to search it. So I'm going to make things easier for you here. So what I'm going to do is I will tell you a story, and when I start the story, the subtitles down below is going to turn into English subtitles. But don't worry if you don't understand. If any time you don't understand, you only have to pause the video because I'm going to provide you with the description box contains the meanings of the words in the subtitles. So you have to pause the video, read the subtitles, find the meanings of the words you don't understand, and at the end of the story, you will know the whole story and you might know new words, and this method might also help you to get familiar with the flow of the language and sentence patterns. So that's about what I'm doing here, so let's get into the story. Stephanie Arnold is an American producer and an author. She created and produced many TV shows, documentaries, and music videos. But she stopped her work when she met the love of her life. They got married and she gave birth to her first daughter without any serious issues. But the mystery began when she got pregnant with her second child. Okay, this is gonna be a little bit of a science lesson, a little cute science lesson from here, but don't worry, it won't be long. While being pregnant, she does the 20 weeks ultrasound. So ultrasound is a scan where you can look in details of the baby's bones, brain, and heart, and a few other things. Now after this scan, they come to her and tell her, you have placenta previa. So she's like, okay, because just like you and me, at this point, she also had no idea what this placenta previa is. So placenta previa is the baby's placenta partially or totally covers mother's cervix. This can cause severe bleeding on the pregnancy and the delivery. So this is what she had, and doctor tells her just that. But the doctor further says this can move out of the way when the uterus grows, but if it didn't, she might need a C-section, a cesarean section. Stephanie says she wasn't worried about this C-section because she was there even for her first child. But this time about this case, she felt something is not right. So she goes home, get her phone or her laptop or whatever the device she had, and she starts googling what on the earth is this placenta previa. So she finds out placenta previa can grow into accreta. So accreta is another serious pregnancy condition. In that case, you might need a hysterectomy. Hysterectomy is a surgical removal of the uterus. If you need a hysterectomy, it can cause hemorrhage. Hemorrhage means heavy bleeding, and hemorrhage can cause to the death of the mother and the baby. At that moment, she said she got that strong feeling, she got tears on her eyes, and she looked at her husband and said, this is gonna happen to me. Only difference is the baby is gonna be safe. I know, I took a lot of strong words on you, but if you caught them, good. But if you didn't get this, she had this pregnancy condition and she surgered and she figured out that it can grow into really serious condition that can cause the death of the mother and the baby. But this is a very, the percentage of this happening was very low, but she still knew that this is going to happen to her. Deep in her heart, she knew this is going to happen to her. So that's what happened. According to her, her husband is a very analytical person, so he didn't took it, of course. So her husband was like, what you're afraid of happening is a half of a half percent chance of happening. But she was so confident about it, she told her doctors, nurses, and everybody she could that this is going to happen to her. But nobody did listen to her. They were like, Stephanie, you need to relax, you must be just stressed. But she knew that. She said she doesn't know how she knew it, but she just knew it. She had no proof how she knew it, but she just knew it. She got this strong feeling, this deep in her heart. She was so confident that this is going to happen. However, Stephanie and her husband ended up meeting a gynecologist. Gynecologist is a doctor who's specialized in female reproductive health. So they meet him and Stephanie was like, I'm going to need a hysterectomy. Then the doctor was like, have you been on the internet? Then she was like, yes, and this is gonna happen to me. So she tells the story to the doctor. Somehow they ended up doing a test to check if she has any Akrita issue, but it came negative. Now she's running out of people to tell her story, so she decided to talk to Facebook. So she has this O negative blood type, so it's a pretty rare blood type. So she posted on her Facebook, if you have my blood type, I'm gonna need it. And she also said she even wrote goodbye letters. For the due date of delivery, she bled all over the kitchen floor. At this time, her husband was in New York and she was in Chicago. So she went to the hospital with her friend, and she said she kissed her baby girl 1,000 times, and she was texting with her husband. Just she knew this was her last moment. Now she was lying down on the operating table and a curtain was put down in front of her face. She feels she's getting colder and colder and then felt getting disconnected. Now they delivered a healthy baby boy, but 3 seconds later she was dead. Now what she ended up having was an amniotic fluid embellishment, which is a rare condition at 1 in 40,000 risk. In most cases, this caused death. And later they figured out the Akrita was just microscopic. That's why it was not detected by the MRI months ago. But somehow the doctors could get her back up after 37 seconds, and later she was somewhat stable. How could they save her? How? Well, that was because out of all the people she was telling her story, there was one doctor who actually did listen to her. Now, this doctor said she got this strong feeling about how she's explaining what is happening to her, and she had never seen any patient tells her like this confidently that this is going to happen to her. So she made sure the crash card, that crash card, that thing that have all the things you need for a surgery in a hospital when there is a surgery. So she made sure there are extra blood on that. According to Stephanie, this is why 100% she's still alive. She was in a coma for a while, then she woke up, but she remembered nothing about that 37 seconds. So Stephanie says it was hard going back to being a mom and a wife after all these things happened, so she went to therapy. But she wanted to know how she knew everything months before it happened. So she ended up doing a hypnotherapy, which takes you back to the moment of trauma. But she said she didn't have a strong belief that this might actually help, so she did it through Skype. But she did record it. In the record, you can see under the hypnosis, she tells who pressed the button of the cord in the operation room, who did the CPR for her, who delivered her baby, and what her daughter was doing down the hall, what her husband was wearing when he's getting out of the plane, and what her mom was doing when she entered the room when she was in coma. She said there's no time and space. Space all of a sudden expanded and there was no ceilings, no walls. She said she saw herself in the operating room and she heard the sound of the beeping of the ECG machine until it flatlined. And when it flatlined, she saw a shooting star, and with the shooting star, she started seeing spirits. Now she has seen her uncle, her grandmother, her other grandmother, her aunt, and she has also seen the people who she didn't know but had messages for the people who she did know. So she said she saw her husband's father and her best friend's younger brother who died when he was 7 years old. Now she said this was a mystery for all these years how he died, but now she knows it. And then she got moved back into her body, and that's when she woke up from that meditative state she was in. She was in the hypnosis, remember? Stephanie takes these tapes to the hospital and she showed them to the doctors. So they say this is accurate down to where they were sitting, what they were doing, what they were talking. Now doctors said that the hearing can last for a while, but she certainly couldn't see because her eyes were taped shut at the moment. She knew that her doctor didn't deliver the baby, but the training doctor did. So she asked about that from her doctor, and she says, this is a teaching hospital. She was waiting on the hallway, and it's our job to bring people in the last minute and let them do the job. Stephanie said at that moment she got her answer, that we have some kind of energetic spiritual part for ourselves. So this is the end of the story of Stephanie Arnold. Later she writes a book called 37 Seconds about her near-death experiences. There might be more people who have had near-death experiences like this, but maybe they don't remember it because maybe they haven't done any hypnotherapy. But for this story, there are a lot of witnesses for this. When I was reading the story, she never gave up. She didn't even care if people think her crazy or not. She just never gave up. Even at her last moment when she was carrying to the operation room, she was still telling her doctor, if this happened, do this. So she was like that. No, she didn't give up at all. I think that's why like she came out with one person who did listen to her and actually could help her. That's what I feel about this story. So yeah, that was the story of Stephanie Arnold. Anyways, thank you for watching the video. Hope you guys really enjoyed the story and learned something from it. And the next day I will come here with another story just like this. And until then, I hope you get the best out of everything you do. So till the next time.
Like and share our videos. Don't forget to subscribe our channel.